okay?
All right. Okay, we're on. Go ahead, Trotter.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Jamie, welcome. Crow, how you doing, brother? Cats, as always,
But
thanks you.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Crow.
hi, Cats. Hey, Jamie. Now that we got the greetings out of the way, let's pick a topic.
Any topic. I was just asking Jamie how his day was going. For me, it's been a very chill day. How about everybody else?
Mine's pretty good. Just to let the chat know that we're waiting for Patricia. I had to give her the link, so she should be here. So just be talking till she gets here. So my day went pretty good. You know, nothing.
Did you flat smack anybody today?
No, I didn't. How sad, huh? Just joking. It was a quiet day, you can say, like always. And yours, Peter?
Yeah, I'm unemployed, so I'm just kind of taking it easy right now. I'm on seasonal layoff, I should say. So I'm just kind of enjoying that for now. It's only going to go on for another like month and a half or so. So, yeah, that's pretty much
back
it.
to the grind.
And right back at it.
Yeah. Hey, and you, James. Oh my God, Jamie.
Miss Jamie.
Her words are failing her. Don't worry, mine were failing me really bad earlier today.
I know.
Right, Crow?
Listen, Crow has some questions for me. Okay, Crow, I'll answer them as honest as I can. I don't know yet. I'll think about it. So
I wasn't prepared to ask you questions right now.
Well, now I put you in a spot.
Now you put me in a spot. I don't appreciate it. Now people are listening. Now you forced me to ask you questions. How long you been a flat earther, Cats?
Oh gosh, it's gonna be 3 years already. Thank God.
Wow, 3 years?
Yeah. Yes. It's going to be.
Who was the first person you heard talk about flat Earth?
You know what? To be honest, I saw some videos. God, when I first started to see them before I came into flat Earth, but I don't remember, to be honest, whose video I was watching at that time. Watching, and they brought my eyes to flat Earth, basically.
And did you at first? Did you laugh at it? Did you mock it, or did you?
No, I was very interested in what I was seeing at first, because I never got into this stuff. I didn't pay attention. But when I started to see the vids, my eye got, focused on the vids, and it was pretty good, awesome, interesting, you could say. So I learned flat Earth through those vids.
Did you feel like you were going crazy watching those videos? Like, there's no way this could be true. Like, did you get that, or did you like, oh, I like this? Well, I mean,
oh my gosh, I was just focused on the vids, just just seeing what they were saying and what they're showing, and that's it, And like I said, outer space and stuff like that wasn't my kind of thing. I'm a sport person, so until I got there. So
now, who was the first person you told about? Like, did you tell your family member, like, guess what I learned on the internet today?
To be honest, when I tell my friends or people, even if I'm at a store I'll tell them, but they look at me like I'm crazy. My family's the same way, but you know, it's like planting that seed, and they can research it themselves because a lot of times your families they say a lot of gossip behind your back, like everybody knows that,
Yes.
you know, or drama. So I just tell them as it is, and they believe me or don't believe me. You know, I always give them where to go.
Patricia, welcome.
Patricia, you made it.
Hi.
Hi.
Awesome.
Sorry, I went back to my email and I saw your message. Oh my gosh. And I had to get out of this one to go to the other one to find your message.
Well, thank you for inviting me. And I know Flat Trotter and the Scarecrow. And this is the first time Cat's Eyes, you and I have ever spoke. And who else is in here? We've got Jamie. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Jamie Brown. I met you at Leamington Spa, if you remember.
Oh, Jamie. Yes, I do remember completely.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, Patricia, just wanted to get a little catching up with you. Just talk to you about what you've been up to, how you got started. Maybe some people want to know a little bio on you real quick.
I got started in 2015 when I was looking at lots of things on YouTube and stumbled across flat Earth videos. I was looking at moon hoax and something happened on the way to the moon, and I found flat Earth clues. And it was still coming out clue by clue at that time and hadn't yet been put together into what they call a movie form or, one long running sort of thing. It was piece by piece. And I just kind of blew me away. And then I started looking at other videos from other people, all the names, we all know. And I even listened to Eric Dubay on the Higher Side Chats, that podcast.
That was a great interview. Yeah.
Yeah. That was my first introduction to Eric. Then I started thinking about what I'd seen on A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, where they were saying low Earth orbit. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. That could be just a sort of a bit of truth in that movie, but not all the truth. Maybe there is no low Earth orbit. Orbit would be going around something like a ball. And then that took me a while to get through. And then satellites took me even longer to get through. And I was watching videos, and there weren't a lot in 2015. Like today, there's, oh my gosh, we've got a buffet of videos. But I was trying to, in my own mind, debunk satellites. Well, how does satellite TV work? What about all those people who work for satellite TV companies who install satellites? And then finally, I went through all of that and decided that the Earth is flat. And then I sat with it for several months, watching videos, not commenting. I didn't even have a channel. And then decided that I couldn't just sit by and watch this happen. And decided that I could maybe help in some way. And since I'd been in radio before and interviewed people, and also was just playing, a DJ, comfortable with a microphone and talking, I thought, well, I can find out what makes the people behind the flat Earth tick. So I started interviewing people. I teamed up with Stars Our Souls, who is no longer a YouTuber at this moment, out of Florida, for my first few shows. I was friends at that time with Eric Dubay on Facebook and had bought all of his books. And I asked him if he would go on. And he said, let me think about it. And I thought, okay, well, I want to do an interview with somebody. So, Mark Sargent. And I'd written Mark early on via email, just a fan letter, basically, just thanking him for opening my eyes with the clues and all that. And he had written me back really nicely and very quickly and said, hey, give me a call. Here's my phone number, which is no big deal. He has his phone number on the end of all of his videos. But to me, it seemed weird to call somebody that you don't know. It seemed very stalkerish. So I never called him back. And then when I put out my first video, I got a comment, those comments Mark puts in videos. It was, great job or something like that. And I thought, oh my gosh, he remembers I'm that woman who wrote the letter. Well, it turned out he didn't remember at all. He was just leaving me a generic comment. Blew my ego to shreds.
Oh, God.
But I remembered, though, at that point later on that, oh, yeah, that's, I'm going to call him now that I've got a channel. It's made me feel like I was actually a contributor to Flat Earth, even if I had only a few videos, as opposed to just a fan stalking him and calling him. So I emailed him, and then he said call, and then we talked on the phone for several hours, basically nonstop, like just so overjoyed at being able to speak with another Flat Earther. And then he interviewed me, and I interviewed him. He interviewed me on Truth Frequency Radio, and I interviewed him on my YouTube channel. And then Eric Dubay, I asked him again and said, "Hey, well, what do you think? Have you thought it over?" He said no. He wouldn't go on. I didn't understand back then that you can't have Eric Dubay on your show if you've ever had Mark Sargent on your show. I didn't know about the whole shill thing back in early, 2015.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't get it. I thought, well, why? We were Facebook friends. And, then he started doing hit pieces on me for no real reason other than I teamed up with Mark Sargent. And, my story is pretty much the same story as everybody in Flat Earth, give or take. You get into this thing, you're excited, you're trying to tell your family and friends, everyone thinks you're crazy. You go through elation and depression and then around and around. And then at one point or another, you decide to jump in and participate. And then as you do that, you go through highs and lows. You go through periods of horrible attack, and then wonderful periods where you feel on top of the world and where you're really connecting with other people and you feel like you're going to change the world. So it's really a roller coaster. I think everyone's story is the same as mine, really. It's nothing special. But together, all of our stories make something special, the Flat Earth.
Oh, well said. Yeah, absolutely. We're just all pretty much sick of all the lies and the deception. And
Exactly.
even if you didn't look into Flat Earth, if you're searching for the truth, you'll eventually get to this point, because, like I've said this before, and I echo it quite often because it's true. Because all conspiracies do encompass Flat Earth. It's unfortunate, but that's just what it is. It's like you've said this before. The powers that should not be have taken over everything, and they control this infrastructure. And that's what it is.
Has anyone followed the channel called New Earth? New Earth. It's not about new Earth-like planets or anything like that. It's a woman, and I can't remember what country she comes from, but she's not on camera. It's just her voice. Fascinating channel. She's not a flat earther. She still believes we live on a ball, but she doesn't really talk about flat earth at all. But I hear her say planet and such. But she talks about something that reminded me of Mark Sargent's clues. Mark's often said, we're not the first people to live in this apartment. And by apartment, he means this plane. Or even if you believe in a globe, this globe. This place we live, the ground we live on. And what Mark means by we're not the first people to live in this apartment, all of us, all of humanity, from what we consider the earliest history till now, that there have been times of cataclysm, maybe floods like in the Bible or who knows what else, that have just, a whole civilization goes under and you can't find anything about them. And there's only myth and legend, tribes pass along to each other, and we kind of start over. It's like a reboot or a reset.
It's like a reset. Yeah.
And that channel, New Earth, has just captured my attention so much lately. It's really amazing to watch, and it's also interesting just to listen to if you want to do things like go to the gym or whatever and have it on and listen to it with like an earbud or something.
No, I agree. It's good to have it's good to have an alternative way of looking at things, not necessarily through flat Earth, but maybe not spherical model, but maybe the ideas and the what's the word I'm looking for? Just for the topics that she's talking about.
They're all topics we all talk about.
Yeah, that we talk about.
Things.
Yeah,
like chemtrails.
I wonder why some of them haven't gotten to the point though, realizing that the Earth is stationary. You know, like they'll go that far, but they won't take the red pill and wake up. You know what I'm saying? That you're almost there. You're so close.
I know. She's so red pilled.
Right.
One of the things I was listening to one of her shows, or not shows, one of her videos the other day, and she was talking about rocks. And what are rocks? And she was looking at rocks. She does expeditions, herself and other people, and they go all over the world and look at different areas and different things and historical things and try to investigate the lies that we've been told, the fake history we've been told, and look for herself and make her own judgment. And my gosh, she's blowing my mind. Rocks, she thinks, are something that's grown, But when you think about it, what are rocks made out of? Minerals. You can grow crystals yourself. It's not that hard. And some of the rocks are akin to plant life. And I'm not talking about no forests on flat Earth, but no, she kind of talks about that too. It's one of those things I thought was interesting. And then I thought, oh my gosh, we're going too far off the deep end. We'll look like we're crazy. And, I just left it. I mean, I don't think much about no forest on flat Earth. I think it's a possibility. But this was that rocks are mushrooms. Rocks grow, some of them, like mushrooms. And I'm like, you know what? Why wouldn't they? The most far-fetched thing ever when it comes to where we live could potentially be true. After all, flat Earth. That's far-fetched. So you can't dismiss anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like a form of like some sort of alchemy, if you will, as far as the fabrication of rocks or how they do come about. Like it makes you wonder, like, what's the formulation or what's the trick here? They found
a coin from the 30s inside rock, which was supposedly like millions of years old. I mean, it was deep inside the rock. How did it get in there? I mean, and she also was giving theories as to how the pyramids were created or other sort of superstructures, those all over the world, those sites where they say, well, we don't know how they built it, but, and they were talking about how rock can be soft and rise like bread. I know this sounds nuts, but check out the channel New Earth if you haven't done so already. It's 2 words, New Earth. And cool. I'm going through all of the videos. And awesome. I'm not saying everything she says is fact. I wouldn't say that about anything. I mean, if so, I'd still believe NASA was telling the truth. But it's so entertaining and fascinating. I really like things that entertain you and keep you very engaged and that reveal potential new truths.
Well, what do you think about the mud fossils and the suggestion about those titans and whatnot?
Yeah. Some of New Earth channel does mud fossil stuff. I don't know enough about mud fossils. I probably should go to that channel after I'm done with New Earth and catch up to where she is today. I'm sure that's another channel that I'll just be, yay, another video.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, some of the stuff might be far-fetched, but it's good to like, speculate,
Yeah, it's all a piece of the puzzle. Just like all of us are a piece of the puzzle, and we need every single person with an open mind and open heart to be here doing what we're doing now. We also need to have all the people that we don't know. Like, I don't know mud fossils, and I don't know the woman who does the New Earth channel. We need people who aren't even in flat Earth, who are talking about Earth and the fact that we've been lied to about our home. That they're doing what we're doing, but they're just not saying it's flat. They could potentially get there. But we could potentially get where they are too, because they're kind of super advanced in their thought process, where a lot of us are like, still stuck in, well, maybe history's a lie, but we don't know how any of these things happened. Some of the theories, she talks about Tesla. It's so good.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely look into that. Tell us about your experience at the conference.
It was really great. Hey, did anybody see the new video that's come out today? Robbie D of Celebrate Truth put it out. DITRH put it out. It's
Marbles.
On. Yeah.
Put it out. ABC News.
ABC News. Yeah. I thought that was of course, they all are going to, the media, what do you expect, really, right? What are they going to do? They're going to, kind of not twist things so much as they had an astronaut on who said, well, I've been in space and I look down and the Earth is round. What's with the round thing?
Right.
That's what they've been doing lately, I've noticed. I think it's a karmic thing, or just because they don't have to lie if they say they look down and Earth is round, because that doesn't mean it's a globe or a sphere or a ball. I think it's this wordplay which makes them feel innocent, maybe, or a little bit less guilty in what they are doing. Astronauts, etc. All of the people in powers that should not be, are using the word round now.
Right. They're not calling it a ball. You're right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. And it makes you think, if they're doing that, why are they doing that? So maybe there is something to this use of words and lying is bad. And if you lie, bad things will happen to you. And that takes you into religious text. It can take you down the road of the Bible. It can take you many other places too, good and bad. It's all of this is so crazy and mind blowing. The main thing is that with Flat Earth, the conference, it was so life affirming to go and see lots of people in person. Some I'd already met in person. It was really a wonderful experience. And I don't know if anyone here is planning on going to the one in Denver this year, actually. Seems like a long way away, but it'll be here pretty soon. We've learned a lot from the first conference, and we've learned things not to do and things to do and da-da-da. So this one's going to be better, definitely. And it was just a great experience. I've been thinking about maybe going to the UK convention that Gary John is putting on. I don't think I can swing it financially to go. Maybe I could do it. Go without some food for a while. But, I'm not speaking at it. I would be going just in sort of a supporting fangirl, yay, kind of way.
I hear you. Yeah.
But, I think about going, but some good people are speaking. Martin Leakey, Flat Earth British. I mean, that's a guy right there that's going down the mud fossils and a new earth path and old books, ancient texts. Watching Martin Leakey is, guys.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites for sure. I watched a lot of his stuff. I like how he gets into the history books and
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, he breaks it down real nice. It's great.
I've met him twice. He's just such a great person, such a great guy. He really wants what's best for Flat Earth, and he really is Mr. Peace and Love. It's not an act. That's just who he is.
Yeah, we like that guy. Yep, I like him. I support him. Absolutely. I know a lot of people do.
Yeah. I don't think there's anybody who dislikes Martin Leakey.
Yeah, right?
I don't think there's like lies and rumors made up about Martin or very many hit pieces made up on Martin. I just think most people are like, yeah, Martin's a good guy. He's a flat earther we can all agree on.
Yeah, he's doing something different too, what he brings to the community as far as that type of research. There's nobody really looking into that stuff. Same thing with FPV's research, FPV Angel. I don't know if you looked into any of the stuff he's been doing.
Yeah, a little bit. I was on a couple of hangouts with him with the Sun and Moon group several months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just, something. It's an alternative research, if you will, on Flat Earth. And it's all good stuff also.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Flat Trotter? I'm usually the interviewer, and you're doing all the interviewing. Let's hear a little bit about you. Where are you from?
Okay. I was born in California. I'm bi-coastal. I live in New Jersey now. I got family on both coasts to this day. I've been a flat earther for 5.5 years.
Wow. I want to know about that.
I could sum it up. I've been saying it often, so I could give you the short version, of course.
Okay.
It's not about me tonight. But 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, I was looking into the Mars missions and started to see that there was just some fakery going on. Couldn't really put my finger on it, and found some channels that were debunking them, and knew that the moon landings were fake. But for some reason, I was believing that NASA did send something to Mars, but when I was researching stuff and like getting into the photos and all this crap that was going on, stuff was popping up saying that didn't really happen. So I finally clicked on one of those videos and started going down that rabbit hole of the fakery. And I was like, there's no freaking way. There's no way. And during that time, my father suggested to look into Flat Earth, which, yeah, but he had a suspicion that it might be a stationary plane. But he wasn't sure, and he just thought that I had, the capacity and the time to look into that sort of thing. Because I don't know, he just thought it was something that I might get into. But he wasn't a flat earther. I guess he was a purple pillar. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I started looking into it, and I read Samuel Rowbotham's book. I looked at what's his name? Oh, Malcolm Bodum. He's a geocentrist on YouTube. He was one of the first channels that I saw that had anything on geocentrism, and but his idea was more about the Earth being the center of the universe, but still being a ball.
Got it.
And but he had some experiments and some stuff like the Michelson-Morley experiment. He talked about evolution not being real and how the science mafia, how they control everything. And he was basically saying things 5.5 years ago what a lot of us are talking about today, except that he was still on the ball Earth being the center of the universe,
like the Principal movie, sort of.
Right. And with my own observations and just doing some of my own observations, looking at the sun, there was just one day where I was standing there and I was just like, there's no freaking way. It just hit me, you know. It was just like this epiphany. Everything just felt like boom. It was just like I took the red pill and just like woke up at that moment. I think a lot of people know what I'm talking about when that happens.
Yes.
And this moment of clarity, and it was just like, shit.
It's almost
stationary. It was so surreal. You know what I mean?
I totally know.
Crazy.
It's like whatever being reborn would be. I don't mean in a religious sense, but it's like you're a new person. Yeah. It's like it's actually super exciting because you do have a chance to undo past mistakes. First, you have to correct yourself and stop saying globe or planet all the time, and then you realize how many times other people say globe and planet, and you start seeing how they're brainwashing us on every front. It's just right in front of your eyes, and then most of us want to do something.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's wordplay. It's hemisphere, southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere, the atmosphere. You know, it's all that wordplay. It's just it's the indoctrination. But yeah, that was basically it. But there was nobody around, and I told my father that I'm pretty sure the Earth is stationary and not spinning. Like I need more proof. But at that point, it seemed like the most logical thing because that's what my senses were telling me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't know. There was this connection with Earth, if you will.
Yes.
And it was just like that sort of connection. I was like, shit, this is what's going on. As far as the edges are concerned and the direction, the trajectory of the sun and the moon, well, that's still something we have people trying to figure out, you know. But, you know.
What would you say you concern yourself with most? Many people concern themselves with models, kind of like what you're inferring, and the sun and the moon and that sort of thing, or photography, experiments, or I'm more of the community person, interviewer person. Some here for social, some some are here to team up and do music, like the Scarecrow. What do you see as the role you've defined for yourself in this whole thing?
Kind of parallel to what you're doing. Maybe do a little bit more activism locally on a local level.
Activism. I forgot to mention that. That's a really important one.
Just flat smack people when I get a chance. That's what 2018 looks like, a year of flat smacking.
Yeah.
Giving more people red pills. But my role right now is just talking about NASA's lies and calling out the priesthood from scientism and calling out the Jesuit order and whatnot, because that's basically, there's many heads to the Hydra, and we just got to call out each head. That's what it is. So that's what we do.
You'd focus on the Jesuit order. I mean, I've heard people call out, okay, so it's the Jews. There's some people that are just strictly, it's the Jews. It's some are strictly, it's the Masons. Some are strictly, it's the Catholic Church, or, the Jesuits. You stand with saying the Jesuits, or by the Jesuits, are you kind of saying that's an umbrella word for everybody?
Well, what I'm saying is, okay, let me rephrase what I just said. There's many heads to this Hydra. So you have the Jesuits, you have the Jews, you have the Freemasons, you have the Illuminati, you have the Zionists, you have the fake Jews, you have the fake Christians, you have the Catholics, you have all these different entities, if you will, all controlled in one infrastructure. That's how I see it. So you just can't point the finger to one faction. There's a lot of different ones going on. There's a lot of moving parts going on. So we need to dissect them and call out each one, is what I'm saying.
I've noticed that there's a lack of within the flat earth. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't any, but the people who grew up Jewish or people who grew up Catholic, I haven't seen, even if they rejected that and went, or they still practice. I think that I haven't seen a lot Do you guys feel the same way?
A lot of fake Jews?
No, I don't mean fake.
You mean giving up their religion, their upbringing?
Yeah, their upbringing. I've said a million
I've seen
times.
a lot of those. Like,
yeah, I've seen a million times that my mom was Jewish. I didn't grow up Jewish, but my mom converted before I was born. But I guess, as they say, it's in your blood. So I am Jewish if your mother's Jewish, although I don't practice Judaism. But there are people there's not very many people who are flat earthers who say, I'm a flat earther and I'm Jewish, or I'm a flat earther and I'm a Catholic. But we do have a lot of, I'm a flat earther and I'm a Christian. And
yes.
I get a lot of people saying, well, is this a Christian movement?
No.
Which it isn't. But we do have more Christians, hardly any Jews, few Catholics.
Right.
It is weird how that worked out that way. Why?
It could. That's a very good question. Very good question.
Maybe Christians believe the Bible speaks of the flat Earth, so it's more receptive that way. So it's more open for them to I can see where that's how I got more convinced overall. If I put my faith in this, this God must have a reason why he wouldn't just put pillars for no reason.
Right.
It's not a metaphor. It's not a poetry. The Songs of Solomon is more poetry. But if he's just speaking of, and I just think overall it's just easy to instead of accommodating the world, rather, let God be true and man be liar. Because a lot of people use the Bible. Well, it says the earth is a globe because it says it's a circle, but it's no, and you can't do that because you're accommodating what you see, the image you see, rather than what you believe. And that's how we fall into the trap. So we have to fit the society rather than, your integrity of what you have faith in.
Now, I don't know much about Catholicism.
Yes.
But do they not use the Bible as well?
Yeah, but they're more of a listeners, more or less. A lot of churches are like that, though. I would say that the pastor has the final say. That's what people go to church for, right? Just to listen to the message. If people really want to know what the Bible says, they go to Bible study.
That's true. That makes sense.
So that's, there's two sections of the church. While maybe 50 people go to church, there's maybe 10 people go to Bible study. Some people just go to church just to, pay their dues and okay, I'm off to the casino.
Very true. Yeah. So, I'm going to go to church first, and then I'm going to go meet up with my mistress later.
Yeah. I got an appointment at the strip clubs. I got to go to.
Exactly.
Right? But that's what it is. So it varies too. And so most people are just there to listen to the message than rather when I got started, I study it rather than have the pastor tell me what to believe. Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of people don't want to think. They want to just be told. It's easier.
It seems like the powers that should not be want there to be a one world religion. I think that's something that they're gunning for in one way. And I don't know what that religion is going to be, but I think that's the case.
Yeah. It's going to happen English is going to be the one language. It's very close to being the one language. You can't go a lot of countries without people speaking English. So in religions whether it's going to be the Messiah they're going to give you, right, or the alien that's going to, proclaim the real truth, or, the government is just going to own up to it that they lied.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that they would pull off something horrible and kill a bunch of people before they do that. But then again, I don't know. The one world religion and one world currency thing is pretty scary. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely not for that. I don't know. It just seems like that's what they want to do. And they would have to use an event to bring that about. And everyone's talked about the fake alien invasion possibility. But I don't even think it has to be an invasion. I think they would just need to say that we found aliens. And
Oh,
and
sorry.
just
I was talking to IPS just yesterday, and
oh,
how
I like his viewpoints when it comes
yeah,
to what you're talking about
yeah,
anyway.
he's very insightful actually.
He's
Yeah.
spot on. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I was telling him like we don't need that theatrical, or like even 9/11 brought the whole country together.
Hmm.
I mean, like nobody hated each other the day after it.
Well, a
It
lot
was,
of people hated anybody who was remotely Arabic looking.
yeah, but I mean, like the country, we stuck together by ourselves. You know, like
Mhm.
our neighbors. We thought it was so cool to wave the flag. Look at me, I'm American. You know, we're together. You know, and it took a while for years to realize we've been duped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've been groomed to hate the Muslim or their religion rather than what really happened. So it don't
It's
take
all through
much.
propaganda. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The propaganda was to unite us and to probably have Bush have a second term. So it won't take much. Like you said, it doesn't have to be drastic. And it won't be probably for the
Mhm.
first, run.
Well, people believe anything. Obviously, we all did at one point easily without any proof because we've been told by the TV, the radio, the newspapers, or schools, or our innocent parents. So all they would need to say is that the Hubble has found, or we've picked up, a signal of something, 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 and just they could even blow up, sacrifice a town or even a state or somewhere, an abandoned area somewhere in the world, and blow it up somehow and say it was done by aliens. And just, it would be pretty easy for them to do it. And they had some pretty good practice with what they did with 9/11. And I'm sure they have way better technology now. They wouldn't have to actually have, little green men, in a ship landing and all of that. Is way too complicated. They would just need to say that's what they found. We're already conditioned with them telling us what they found or what they're going to do or when they're going to send civilians slingshotting around the moon and other things that never happen. So,
well, I'm going to say something here. I believe this is what my thoughts are. The last deception will be that we were attacked by aliens. That is their plan, and it will, because we're still asleep, daydreaming still what's going around us. And then when this happens, the last deception, people are going to freak out because they don't know what's going on around them. And that's their plan. The government's plan is to do the last deception. And they're going to use alien, they're here to invade, United States, the world. And it will happen because that's their plan. And the world religion and the world money, it's in their place. They already have it ready. We're just I don't know when they're gonna do it. They're just waiting to let it go out there. And this is where we need to make sure our voices are spoken out to those that are asleep, those that are awake, that we must fight it. We have to. Because when this is happening, you know what? There's going to be more control over us no matter what. If it, with the new money, the new religion, and the deception. This is to control us more into their little box, you can say.
You're right. I mean, I can't disagree with the cat either, by the way. It's impossible for me. looking at your icon. I'm like, the cat speaks. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I was telling Trotter like maybe a couple of days ago, Trotter, where people are comfortable in the box. Rarely do people want to look outside the box.
Oh yeah,
right? And
That's it.
And the moment you notice something different in the box, you start crawling out of it. And so it takes a while for maybe they accept 9/11 is an inside job, but they're not ready for the other things because they're still trying to get out slowly.
People, we're talking about the one world religion. I was going to ask you, Patricia, would you agree that the state's one world religion is heliocentrism?
Oh, well, that is definitely the case, but they're going to have to pick something to worship, which would probably be like, an alien or something like that, it would seem. Or they could say, with the expression of all roads lead to Rome, it could be something Rome based in some way. But yeah, definitely heliocentrism. I mean, the icon is the globe, and people really literally worship it. Small children are given it. I mean, it's when you wake up to flat Earth, you realize how many businesses have the word globe or global in them. Before that, you don't notice.
Yep, GPS.
Yeah, exactly. I was talking to somebody from Amazon today. I ordered something from some seller that, doesn't even sell things anymore, and they've disappeared, and they couldn't cancel my transaction, and I wanted to have my account credited because I never received the item. On and on, one of those kind of customer service issues. So I was on the phone with a woman. I made like 3 calls over the course of a week to try to get this resolved. And the woman I got today was the best one yet. She actually solved my problem. But in the interim, while we were on hold, there was a few little moments where I could quote unquote flat smack her. And I was doing other things like world flat smacking sorts of things, talking about the world and just feeling her out, because I had to be on the phone with her for about a half hour. Might as well use my time wisely. And she was saying, it all sounds interesting, but I want to live. This is what she said exactly. Quote, I want to live in my bubble. I like my bubble. I like my kids. I like my family. I don't watch the news. I don't vote. I don't really want to know what's going on. And I told her, not watching the news and not voting, I think that's a brilliant idea. But in order for the future to be better for your children, knowing the truth, that doesn't require you to read newspapers or vote or watch TV or the news or anything. It requires you to not and realize what the real stories are, or at least try to explore them. And I was trying to get that across to her, but she was very nice, but very adamant about wanting to stay, like you said. She literally said, "I like my box."
They do.
I like my box,
and that's what they want you to be apathetic and ignorant.
At least she doesn't watch TV, though. At least she doesn't read newspapers, though.
Well, that's the passive approach. A lot of people want to just stay passive, and they're comfortable in their own little world. But
I used to be like that before I knew about flat Earth. I hated newspapers, and even I worked at a radio station, but still, I didn't like watching TV news. Reason is because it's just sad and depressing. But I thought all the stuff on there was true. So.
Yeah, they're playing on your emotions. That's what they do, right?
Yeah. Now it's really, I don't watch it, but it's comedy. If you happen to be somewhere and there's a TV on, or you're at someone's house who's in the Matrix and they have the TV on while you're talking or eating, your eyes do glance to it. You can't help yourself. And it breaks your contact with other human beings and the conversation you have, and you look over. And any time you look, it's something stupid or a joke. Hilarious. I can't believe people buy this. Look at what they're trying to present to the world as what reality is. Look at the way they're trying to present these expensive goods as being a sign of having made it and being a better person. So everything you lay your eyes on at any moment is something bad, something negative.
Yep. That was well said. Thanks for that.
Yeah, Trotter, Patricia, and Caps. Ever heard of? I know you mentioned Rome, Patricia, a few minutes ago, and ever heard of the last Pope prophecy? Anybody?
No,
yeah, I've heard of it, but I don't know the full narrative about it.
You have, Cats. Great. Yeah. I knew you were intelligent for a reason.
We're almost at the last Pope.
I don't want to judge Trotter, but. Yeah, it's a prophecy that's been going on for many years, and they say that this is the last pope. The prophecy is, and so the reason why they might say it's the last pope because the next one will be the real leader of the whole world.
So that would be the one world religion.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why when so when you said the Rome, it reminded me how it ties, because it says at the end of the prophecy, Cassie, correct me if I'm wrong. It says something like Peter the Great. He will return, Peter the Great. So there's going to be a final leader, and we all know how powerful Rome is already, and it's not even a country, but it is just being a city. So, but yeah, it's interesting that you said Rome.
I know that the last pope is some book that was written in the mid-2000s. That's all I know about it. It's sort of a bestseller of some sort, but maybe it's about that story you're talking about. I have no idea. I've always, this is weird. I went into one Catholic church in my life. I don't have any Catholic family members as far as I know, although I would imagine, I mean, no one knows every single person that has your same last name on your mother's side and on your father's side. So maybe there were some. But I did go into a Catholic church once. I was dating a guy back in the, I think in the early 90s, and he was Catholic, and he asked me if I would come to the church with him. And my thought right away was, and this would have been for any church, by the way, any religious place. My first thought was, oh, no, I don't really want to do that, because it's never been my thing, even when I was young. But I said, okay, because I, tried to be the better person and support the person you're dating, go with him. And I went, and it was just a lot of pageantry, and all the people were super nice. There was nothing weird or creepy about it, other than just the general vibe that I get from most sort of organized church type things. It is a bit creepy and money centric. They're, a good, I don't know what it's called, but when the person in charge, it's not a minister, a preacher, you know what I'm talking about, giving a good,
a pastor.
A pastor, okay. Giving a good speech about something that anybody could relate to, which could basically be broken down to like good advice about how to live your life. And, that was it. But I know that a lot of people think the Catholic Church is evil. I mean, I think anyone in high places that's involved in any sort of culty brainwashing could potentially be evil. But all the people I met there were nice. And I've been in a Jewish temple before. Same thing. Everybody's super nice. Exact same kind of scenario went on there. People very indoctrinated by their beliefs, lots of fellowship. I've been in Christian churches before. Same thing. I found out very young that none of that is for me, because I'm not a religious church going or temple going or mosque going person. I've never been to a mosque. Guess I'd go one day just to see what it's like. But they all seem to be alike in the way that all the people there, for the most part, are just people like all of us who, for whatever reason, they feel that this is what they want to do, and it's making them a better person to go, and then enjoying the fellowship. I don't think that individually those people are in dark, corners plotting world destruction. That's why I hate when people say it's the Jews, it's the Catholics. It's because it's the high ups. It's not just the high up. It's not your neighbor, who's Catholic or Jewish. No, it's not them,
exactly.
Right. And and that's why I was thinking maybe there's not that many people who say, I'm Jewish and I'm a flat earther, or I'm Catholic and I'm a flat earther, because they might feel afraid to, with all the hate that comes out sometimes from flat earthers. So,
well, because religion for the most part, some people say it's a way of life, but it is a control paradigm.
Yes, it is.
So, and there's some things in the Bible that I don't resonate with, and I'll be considered a bad Christian because of that, or bad Catholic. And they'll say that you can't pick and choose what you want out of the Bible, but the people that put together the Bible are the ones that pick and choose what they want you to read out of the Bible, and they've edited. And I know Crow said that confusion is because of man, but if man has contributed to the Bible and added confusion, why would that be in there? Because confusion just causes, what's the word I don't like using, is chaos. It keeps you in the darkness because you're basically confused. So how is that enlightening? And but maybe I need to just go back and read some stuff and see if I could wrap my head around some of the things that are going on in there. But I guess I'm a bad Christian.
No, it's like I'm not a perfect Christian too. It's all, again, those that read and those that just go listen. There's two different things, Right. Me and you can read the same verse, and then Patricia would read it right after, and she gets something more out of it than we do, and we might miss it, overlook it, and it's just, this is what we're doing. The readers are confused. The words are just there, and we are trying to apply it for our own benefits or bias. It's unconventional to think we're all going to think the same out of one verse.
Right.
So it's
or just, even a movie. If we see a movie, we'll all, or listen to a song, you would know that, Crow. Yeah. We all, or look at a piece of art. There is a general theme the song is about, or that the art piece is about, or that the movie is about. But there's little nuances that person A will pick up and person B will not pick up. So Yeah.
Yeah, I've said that about the movies too. It's just, it's very important, especially with writing. Is like, I know what I'm writing, and somebody can relate to it, but they might not know the depth of the words. And so, again, it's all interpretation of it. Some are cut and dry. So it's just we can't use that as fact. I mean, that's why it's faith based, not as fact. And so I hate when people use it as like, this is fact, and if you don't believe it, then you are a terrible person. No, it's not that. Each of us have our own path to take, our own journey, our own mission, our own life. I can't make somebody drink the water if they're not thirsty.
Well put.
And that goes with everything. Flat Earth, 9/11. I mean, I've told a lot of people, there's nobody I want to reach more than my mom, but I can't make her drink the water.
Yeah.
And so, shout out to FaZe and the lovely Mo. I have to say that because they're my friends.
And they paid you well.
Yeah. Shh. Enough of that.
Cat's Eyes. I want to ask you, Cat's Eyes, why the cute cat icon and the name Cat's Eyes? Where did that all start?
I love cats when I was a child. And my father, he named me as a nickname Cat Eyes. The reason he said that is because my eyes glow at night, just like the cat's. So that's how I got Cat Eyes. But see, when I put the icon, which FPV put it on for me, because at that time I didn't know some of this stuff yet, I was using my real name. And then I said, what's a good name to change? Now remember the nickname, Cat Eyes, but it's in Spanish, it's called Ojos de Gato, which is Cat Eyes. So I use that name. It reminds me of my father, rest in peace. And I just kept it that way. That's how I got it.
I like your story. I like any stories that have a tie to your parents like that, Yeah. It's a nice thing.
Yeah. I never questioned my father until I was a little older. Why Cat Eyes? And he explained it. It's because at night when I was little, I used to, how you get up and you want to walk somewhere, like get water or whatever. And when you're little, you're looking for your parents, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so the first thing that my father saw was my eyes glowing at night. And that's how he put me Cat Eyes. Because I do have green eyes and I do see at night. It's weird, but I do see at night when I'm walking in my own home. I see. And
I know your real name and I wanted to say your first name, but I thought, maybe you don't let that.
No, it's okay. You can say my name.
Sophia.
Sophia.
Yes. I like that name, but there's Sophia and there's Sophia. I've heard very different. I know a girl from Russia who's Sophia. I think that's how she says it. So,
well, growing up, they call me Sophie.
Right.
And a lot of people know me because growing up is Sophie, but I tell them no. I always tell them no. It's Sophia, and call me Sophia now because that's my real name. But through high school and grade school, it was Sophie.
When I was little,
they'll say, "Hi, Sophie,"
Yeah, it's a pretty name that can go either way. Like, there's a woman I'm friends with whose name is Geneviève in French, but everyone calls her Genevieve or Gabby. So she's got these different names. And when I was when I was very young and then junior high and high school, I went by Patty until I decided I just didn't like that name and started going by Patricia. I don't know if names, when it comes to your first names, that if you use your first name, it really do have an effect on what kind of person that you turn out to be or not. And I was thinking that maybe there's no way to test it, of course, but I did find out from my parents they had a couple names they were going to name me before they settled on the one that Patricia. I wonder if I would have been a different person, because naming something is a kind of a ritual thing in our culture and every culture, probably. Naming the child, maybe using a name from your parents or your grandparents or part of a name or something along those lines. Or if you're a celebrity, some kind of trendy thing or whatever. But you wonder if you were named something different.
Yeah.
Would you have been a different person? Or would a rose by any other name smell as sweet, as they say?
But it's a label. It's not who you are.
This is true.
So I mean, we are groomed to, we might be grooming to who we become, with us outside interference and frequency of what is being taught. But our name is, it's just it's a stamp. It's not who you are. I mean, you can't put a name into a heart or a soul. So it's just like I have two last names, two different middle names, but I only kept one side of it. But it's those are names and labels of, for your social security, you know, identification.
Yes.
It doesn't say who you are, though. Those are paperworks.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with women taking, in many cases, in many parts of the world, taking their husband's last name. That's, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's up to the individual to decide, or whatever their culture, if they go do everything because their culture says so. No judgment on any of that, but it is kind of weird that because you get married, oftentimes you now take somebody else's last name when you were born, your name sounds like when God maybe spoke the world into existence, if that's your belief system, with sound, and your name is the sound that resonates with you. And if your name is changed with a change of a last name, can that have the power to change you in some way? Or is a name just a label?
It's a name. I mean, people call me Crow. I mean, it doesn't change who I am. I'm still the same person, whatever you call me. I've been called worse. So, but it's still me, right? So, yeah, Cats, I'm talking about you. So, but yeah, it's just a label. It's again, your action speaks louder than words. So,
yeah. Know them by the fruits.
Yeah, and so, I'm still trying to learn. I mean, it's hard because we're so easily persuaded by moving one direction just by the influence of those we talk to.
Yeah,
easily.
Oh gosh, that's a huge thing that happens within Flat Earth.
Yeah, so
we know, still learning.
Still learning. I think we are.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think we're all trying to be a better person. Some of us have we drank Kool-Aid from somebody and believed something that wasn't necessarily true. And then sometimes we come back and change our mind again. We all have that ability and right to change our mind and to make mistakes. That's what makes us human. None of us.
I believe that our names, there's power behind it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That if there is, then if you change your last name, is that, I guess you could get a more powerful last name. Or less powerful.
Right. You might disempower yourself. You don't know.
Exactly.
No, not me. Not me. But like Sophia, all those Sophias out there listening, is wisdom.
Oh.
And it when I found out, it connected to me because I do have a lot of wisdom in me. I don't change who I am. I told few people that I want to change who I am because, to be a different person, you can say, to defend myself. See, but I can't because this is the way he made me. And my name stands everything that he gave me, wisdom and knowledge and be who I am, So I'm pretty sure all the names that we have in this world, there's a meaning. We just have to search it and find it.
Yes.
But yeah. I have a lot of wisdom, and that's what I asked my Almighty God, give me more wisdom, because we all need it and have discernment. We all need it right now at this moment. We should ask for it and quick.
Not to derail this, but it's interesting though that the AI is named Sophia.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
She's saying, it's for wisdom. Well, how fitting, right? Let's name the AI Sophia. It's going to gain knowledge. It's about knowledge. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If it's even real.
Exactly.
We don't know.
I saw a video of the Sophia AI woman thing, computer, walking, and the walking was pretty poor. But it got me to thinking, this is what they're showing us. I'm sure they've got something way more advanced than that.
Oh, absolutely. Right. And the way it talks. I was talking with FaZe. I think you were there, Crow. Remember we were having that conversation about why it has such a robot voice and it talks really slow, kind of like Hawking. He still has that voice. Like they could change it and have him speak normal. They have all the technology to do so, right?
We have on our phones the ability to, or when people used to use like a GPS in your car, an aftermarket, put GPS that you plug into your cigarette lighter.
Tommy.
Different accents, like a Garmin or something, or Siri, different voices you can use, different accents.
Do you think they do that for a reason to get you to remind you that these are robots? And so that when they really perfect it, you won't even know the difference. Like right now, you're like, oh, it sounds like a robot. Oh, I know it's fake. But when it sounds like a real human, you won't know because you're looking for the robotic voice.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the possibilities. Absolutely. Yeah.
You must be a conspiracy theorist.
I don't know. I dabble here and there.
He is. But I have a question for you. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Patricia,
yes.
What does your family think of you being a flat earther?
Well, my mother and father are no longer here. And I don't know what they would have thought. Probably thought I was, oh, that's Patty. She's always, doing something different. That's how she is. But they would have just thought about it that way. They know I'm intelligent enough. I mean, obviously they raised me, but they would have thought it was a weird oddity. And my sister and brother, they know I'm a flat earther. I've sent them videos. I've spoke with them both. They think it's very interesting, but they're not interested in it. And for a little while, my brother and I were not even talking because he thought it was so crazy. My brother owns a kind of rock and roll clothing store, T-shirts and such, in the French Quarter in New Orleans. And he's got full sleeve tattoos. But it sounds like, oh, there must be some satanic tattoos. He's on one arm is a rabbit, and he's got, I don't know, he's got his computer modem on his other arm. It's the weirdest combination of tattoos. But he goes to rock concerts, and he knows a lot of famous musicians. But he saw Flat Earth as being what he's, after I sent him a few videos, he said to me, "What are you now, a crazy Christian?" That's what he thought about Flat Earth. I said, no, you need to look into it. I mean, I'm still the same me as I was before. I've just been looking at the world a little bit differently. And we started having a falling out because he just thought that it's a worthless pursuit. He doesn't watch Flat Earth videos. He has no idea what's going on YouTube when it comes to the Flat Earth world. The only videos he's ever watched are a few that I sent him a long time ago. But finally, we started talking again via text, just brief little conversations, which is good because not speaking with your siblings, it can be sad. I mean, sometimes they don't deserve you to speak to them because, they've done something horrible, but it would just be sad because my brother and sister and I probably have 20 more years left on Earth since I'm going to be 55 next month, and they're a couple years younger than I am. So, a good 20 years or something together before we're gone, and to not speak over Flat Earth would be really preposterous, especially when Flat Earth is something that should be bringing us together with the knowledge that we as individuals matter. So I'm really glad my brother is talking to me. But come on, that was a long answer to the question, which is parents were here to know, and brother and sister, they think it's interesting that I'm interested in it, but they think it's not true. But, enjoy yourself, Patty, while you're doing it. So, okay.
They'll come around, Patricia. It's just going to take time. It's going to be out there more and more. They're going to see signs. They're going to see, people are talking about it more often. They'll come around.
Yeah. My brother is a Republican. He votes. Even if he owns a rock and roll T-shirt shop and has full sleeve tattoos, and like those really thick ear piercings with a big, hole in your ear.
The plugs.
Plugs. Yeah. But he's actually this like nice kid from Michigan. That's how I see him. I remember when I was growing up, he was listening to the Eagles, literally listening to the Eagles. I could hear it coming from his bedroom. And then one day I heard him playing another band, and I went and asked him, "What is that?" And then I realized things have changed around here. He was playing Metallica. And things changed right there. He was in high school, and I don't know what caused him to get into Metallica, but he did, and he's definitely never looked back. And from this sort of wholesome, preppy, country club golf playing boy, he became this sort of rock and roll guy. But he's very normal and very in the matrix, very much so. So he will come around when it's on the mainstream news, but he will come around because truth, unless they do something to bury our entire civilization, this will come out.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, sorry to interrupt real quick, but you're leading to where I was going to ask you, how many years do you think this will come out? Like when it officially comes out that they lied, like, do you think we'll get to that point or something major will happen?
It all depends on the day you ask me. If I am on a sort of high when it comes to people in flat earth working together and maybe good street activism or experiments, or a nice video came out like the ABC News story on flat earth, it wasn't super negative. It wasn't the best, but it was pretty positive. When those things happen and those things come out, and when there's a feeling of excitement in the air that we are making a difference, on that day, I think it's going to come out and we are going to change the world. And then there's other days when there's infighting and drama. And, I just search flat earth and I see all of these crazy hit pieces and different YouTubers are screaming at each other. I think we're never going to accomplish anything here. I am wasting my time, like my brother has said, because people aren't ready for something so life-changing, because they keep flipping out at each other when the enemy is not each other here who've awakened to flat earth. The enemy, the people that are trying to tell us that we live on a globe and controlling us with religion, controlling us with, politics, the weather, the monetary system, the food supply. That's the real enemy. And if flat earthers can't get their head around that, I don't think there's any hope for us. So today I'm in a good mood because of the ABC News story, because it wasn't a disaster hit piece. So today I think it could be within 5 years. Tomorrow, I could say never.
It does say that be careful, your sins will follow. Will follow you.
This is true.
So the truth will come out eventually.
It always does.
Yeah. So it just either people want to slow it down or it's going to come out regardless.
I agree with that, but they could, like by listening to this New Earth channel, you find out about the potential for there to be many civilizations prior to all of ours here. I'm talking predating the Egyptians, et cetera, et cetera. If there is that reset that happens to Earth, maybe that reset comes when we reach that level where lies are, when the bodies float to the surface, you know what I mean? When all the lies are revealed, and they don't want the lies to be revealed, so they start a huge war, and the countries obliterate each other, and we have to start again.
I think when the truth comes up, look, I'm just going to get a little back. I think the truth is already out big time, because this is what our Father God wants us to see, the truth. Now, for the rest of us to see the truth, there will be a disaster coming, so it won't come out. To focus on the disasters that are facing us at this moment. But the truth, no matter how they put it or what happens, it's going to come out, because that's what our mighty God, our Creator, wants us to know. And it will go, the light shall shine, and not the darkness shall leave. The darkness will leave, in other words. But there will be a big disaster before anything to shut all of us up, basically.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like it has to get worse before it can get better.
And that's their plan, because if they know already, like we know that the earth is flat, and they know that we know, yeah, their plans are to bring disasters. And we can't put our heads down. We got to keep fighting it. Because the children that are behind us and their children, they need to be free from all this.
This is true. Yes.
All this has to be free from them to live in a better earth. And I say it because, like, again, many knows I love children, no matter what, who they are, what country they come, because my heart is there for them. But they are the next generations to come. And us as grown-ups, elderlies or middle age, what you name it, adult, youth, we have to fight this for them. It's not because of us or being selfish, say, hey, it's for me. No, it's for these children that are coming to this world to give them a better place. There's songs out there and say, let's give a better place for our children. Okay, then step it up with these songs. Step it up for them. But unfortunately, some of these that sing these songs, they won't do it. And that's what hurts me more, because they bring these children, hey, we care for these children, let's donate this. But you know what? The word, to speak out the truth, is the most important for these children.
Yes.
Than anything else. I mean, I'm saying without my heart all this, but
I hope what we retain as we go forward through this, and if you're saying there is a disaster before the truth comes out, but then it does come out, I hope people are able to retain their individuality and their own religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs, and not be herded into some one world religion. I mean, that would be the worst, most crushing thing, where people wouldn't be allowed to have their truth. Mm-hmm. And that would be what they would try to do if there was a disaster. There would be some sort of figure, be it an alien or something like that, who would be saving us, Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen, because it would take away our human rights to explore our truth.
Right. Well, I don't want none of this disaster to happen.
Of course not. Right.
But that is their agenda. I mean, I feel it in my spirit that that's their agenda. They don't want us to wake up more whatsoever. None of us on this earth. And I speak it for all nations. They want us to be blind, deaf, and not speak. In a short way, I'm going to say it this way, and the United Nations are the ones that are coming toward all these nations, and they're the ones that are going to end up doing what they want to do for the next step, which is the disasters. We've been seeing it from the beginning already, the hurricanes, the tornadoes, you name it, the earthquakes, how the weather patterns are. That is their making. And their big thing is coming toward us, and it's going to be hitting in a lot of the countries. Like I said, we need to unite. And I've been saying we need to unite and speak the truth.
Yes.
And that goes both. That goes flat earthers and the ones that believe that we still live in a ball. We're supposed to unite, and we're not.
And by uniting, it doesn't mean giving up your belief in God the way you see it. It just means having your own belief, worshiping as you see fit, and also fighting against the power.
Having the common goal.
Yeah.
That's what you really need. You fight the good fight.
Yes.
So that's it's hard to get everybody in the same page. And while a lot of people has got the sense of, New World Order, that's not even, it's not even conspiracy no more, because everybody knows it. But yet when it happens, I think they'll just accept it.
Yes, they'll fall for it. I think
they'll fall for it. It's like, oh yeah, there's many movies about New World Order, but when it happens, it doesn't change. It's just it's weird how the
they desensitize you that way.
Yeah, exactly.
By showing it. It's sort of like the part of the predictive programming.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever seen Westworld, and I don't know anybody on the panel has seen it, but it's
Yeah,
a
I have. Yeah,
fascinating show. I love it,
yeah, this, yeah,
and
it's
I can't
great.
wait for season 2. But I think that's it is. We don't, the robots don't know, right? Unless once
You
you're awake,
program.
yeah, is that once you know you're what you are, it's ball game. It's
Yep.
ball game. It's over, and that's what they fear. Like Trotter was saying, it's just they, you know, and Cass was saying too that they don't want us to know, and so yeah, it's ball game. The moment it catches wind, it's scary to know what a whole world unified can do, and that's a good thing too, because it'd be for the right good fight. It's going to be for the good purpose.
And I don't think it's going to be easy. None of this is going to be easy. There's going to be so much turmoil as we push forward with this and as all the truths come out. And I don't think it's ever going to be on the 6 o'clock news. Earth is flat, NASA lied. I don't think it's going to be like that. And I also don't think we're all going to be in FEMA camps either.
Mm.
So I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I can see little things being leaked on the news that they saw a light in the sky, or there's something on planet Neptune, blah blah blah, or they discovered blah 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 spores on Mars of life and something, and then all of a sudden we are told that aliens are here among us, and they might even pit people against people. Like in the movie They Live, I mean, this sounds like a nightmare, or like I've been watching too many movies where they'll say that certain blood types are actually the aliens.
Yeah.
And just get us to kill each other.
That's what me and Trotter were saying, that they put those things in the movies so you can use that.
Yes.
And other people that don't agree with you, you need to stop watching movies.
Yeah.
And I was saying, like in the 80s, it was like, shut that heavy metal music down. It's going to rot in your brain. And yet it's telling you the truth in the words.
Yeah.
But we don't understand it yet. So it's all programming just so you can regurgitate the same thing of you watch too much movies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but the movie tells you everything. It's in our face. That's what I don't understand. These people are still asleep. It's right in front of us what they're doing, and they're letting us know.
It's what we've been all saying. It's through the government, academics, media, and entertainment, and they propagate all their lies through that. That's what they do. They control the narrative. They make up shit to fit those narratives. False flags, crisis actors. I mean, it's all deception, and everyone. That's what we need to do. Is we need to keep calling these people out. We need to keep calling out NASA. I mean, we're not going to be able to probably get a lot of people on board, but if they start looking into NASA and see that they've been lying to a lot of people, I mean, that's a starting point. Chemtrails is another good starting point.
Mm. Did you hear this theory? I don't know it enough to tell you who created the theory or the whole story, but a theory about chemtrails that's kind of going around of the borderline of flat Earth, meaning even channels that aren't flat Earth, but they're kind of flat Earth, really, although they haven't admitted it yet, about chemtrails actually they're putting in us something. And I don't mean Morgellons disease and fibers. It's kind of like that, but it's not that they're poisoning us, or it may not even be a toxic substance, but they're putting something in us that's going to make us even more susceptible to being mind controlled.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, that they use something to for the brain cells to kind of like dumb us down.
Yeah, or control us, or make it so if they do an alien invasion that, or even if they could do a false return of Jesus, or, pick your prophet, wherever your country is, that when the people look and see this, it'll be as if that prophet is talking to them in their native tongue, because our brains are being operated and controlled with a frequency that they can get to us, because whatever it is in chemtrails is in our brains. Now, I know this sounds totally nuts to people that thinking along these lines, but there could be something to that, because the whole poisoning us thing has never rung true to me, because the powers that should not be, the elites, whatever, the wealthy, they don't want their children poisoned either. Their children are outside running and playing too. So could be something else.
Yeah.
Well, we've they do have a nanotechnology that they do.
Yeah.
Inject the air with. Aerosol injections. There's so many applications and there's so many patents.
Nanobots can go inside you.
The technology's there. So none of that's impossible. All of it is possible. And I think it is a full-on assault with the chemtrails. Like I said, there's so many different applications.
Yeah.
They're claiming solar radiation management and carbon monoxide removal. But
that's just the narrative. To not even say they were doing it.
Right. But now that's the narrative. That's their
cover
story. That's their cover story.
Yeah.
They're going to use all these different technologies against us. Whether they're poisons, toxins, xenoestrogens, fluorides. There's just so much shit that's being sprayed right now. To pinpoint, it's like there's many heads to the Hydra. Well, the same thing with the chemtrails. There's so many different things. It's out of control. It really is. And it's like we can't even stop these guys.
No.
It's nuts, And where Katz lives, she says she's been inundated constantly.
I remember in the UK when I was there for 2 months or so, I never saw so many planes with that trail coming out of the back of them, crisscrossing the skies. At any time I looked up, I'd see it right in front of my eyes happening. Not just the residual effect. You just look up and you see it anywhere in England. And I was flabbergasted, really, because I know it happens everywhere. But there, I saw it in such a concentrated form that it was mind-boggling. Katz, where do you live exactly? What do you see?
I live in Arizona. For instance, this morning was, oh my gosh, it was so beautiful because you could see finally the blue sky. You can see the mountains. And then not long ago, here comes the chemtrails, and it's turned white. And it's sad because you can't, here in the desert, we have a lot of cactus, a lot of view. And we can't really see those anymore because of all the chemtrails. And this is the reason the state, many that has asthma or any other kind of illness, they'll come here because of the weather type. But now some of them, those that have asthma, have to leave because of everything that's happening here. Yeah, it's a problem here, but I think it's everywhere.
Yes,
we have a problem.
Well,
yeah, we even have friends in Hawaii that are getting sprayed, and they're off there on the island.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Technology like smart dust, things we were hearing about, black goo. All of this. And then we've got the 5G going up all over, supposedly very soon. I've noticed a lot of towers I never noticed before, or maybe I'm just more aware of them now as I drive around. So 5G, smart dust, all of these things, Morgellons, excuse me. I think that each person has that in them. Maybe some people's bodies are better at rejecting whatever the heck that is. And then some people do present with fibers. I don't think people are making this up and lying. I just for attention, because there's a famous musician named Joni Mitchell. She's quite old now, I think in her 70s. She doesn't need attention. She doesn't perform anymore. Why would she be doing it for attention? So it makes no sense. She's not trying to sell an album or anything. She really feels she's suffering, and I do not think she's insane. I've seen a couple interviews with her, or read a few interviews with her talking about it. And I do know that people develop some type of syndromes sometimes where they, like OCD or, fill in the blank, where people get obsessive about things, or if they feel there's worms crawling all over them, if they do a lot of drugs. But I don't see the Morgellons thing as being a person being nutty. I think there's something to this. And I think there's something in the environment and food and water that's being put there. And as you were saying, Flat Trotter and Crow, they have a multiplicity of things they're doing with it, things they're trying to achieve. And if they're telling us now that, oh yeah, solar shield, that's why we're doing it. And then 10, 15 years ago, they were saying, oh, we're not doing anything. what really are they doing, and that they're going to admit in 5 years, which really isn't even the truth, because it's something even worse than that. It's never anything better. It's never, surprise, we're doing it to protect you and making your life more wonderful. It's never, ever that.
Yeah, I mean, after all the things we've been told and that has become a lie, I can't pass nothing. You know, you can't bat an eye on these things. I mean, can't pass anything by them. So anything is possible. So we just got to keep researching these, even if it's a theory, just like, yeah. I mean, I've heard about these mind controlling chemicals, and I'm glad this is probably why I'm antisocial. Just don't have to deal with the clouds. It's one less thing they can get me.
Yeah, it's always a deep topic. That's one that can go on and on and on. I mean, and to do it justice, we need to do more research and get more people on board and talk about it. We've had an individual come up here, Michelle X. I don't know if she's in the chat or listening right now, but she knows, she's very knowledgeable about a lot of the stuff that's going on, and she researched a lot, and she correlates a lot with scripture also, and the Book of Enoch and stuff. So there's it's viable. It's viable. It's really going on. And it's harmful to everybody. So everybody needs to spread the truth about these chemtrails. Get other people looking up. It's something that people that are not into flat Earth can observe themselves by just simply looking up. And to be in denial is just being ignorant, because it's something they need to investigate. I guess if we get more people on board, maybe we can do something about it. Then possibly. I really don't know at this point.
I think that. In fact, I've even been outside and looked down at my arms in bright sunlight thinking, do I have Morgellons disease? Is it a disease?
Right.
I don't think it's a disease per se. I think that this is something that they've done to us. And it's also part of, I mean, there's many things it's possibly part of, but the whole transhumanism thing, that they're putting these things in us to make us more susceptible to mind control and making us more robotic, I guess, in some way. So, yeah, I think it's melding machine parts with human parts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. It's a freaking horror story, isn't it?
It is. It sounds like we're a bunch of nutcases right now.
Well, like I've always said that I feel like I'm in a movie that I can't shut off. Like I have to, each character has to figure out what we're gonna do, because it's just too bizarre when you figure out if all these things are true. Then we need a new script. We need a new script.
Yeah, well, that could be Reset. I mean, that could be Earth Reset. That's the new script.
It could be that, yeah.
But I do know that there's people who they believe that you can remove Morgellons. Well, they call it also biofilm. And there's lots of different people who have channels about that, or you can go to Carnicom Institute, carnicom.com, I think it's what it is, and learn about that. Some people find that different foods can help them rid themselves of this. There's some guy, I wish I could remember who it is, who has a video out about where you use a bucket and you electrify the bucket. This sounds nuts, okay? Mm-hmm. But then again, hey, nothing really does. And which will somehow get this stuff out of you. I don't even know how that works. I only know enough about it to tell you that. There may be somebody later who watches this who will say, oh yeah, that guy. So.
Yeah, I think FPV, he made a suggestion that might be a possibility as far as extracting it from your bodies. Some sort of electricity or electromagnetic flux or a wave of energy passing through the body might get them out of you or something like that. It was just something we were talking about.
Yeah, it's not lice or something like that. It's something much deeper than that. So Some people believe food grade hydrogen peroxide. I think it's 20%. I think you can buy that only through online ordering. You can't go buy it in the store. I don't know if it's 20% or 30%, but it's a higher one than you buy in a drugstore. I don't even know if they sell hydrogen peroxide in the UK, but they do in the US. Some people believe that morgellons is part of a fungus. But then again, like I was saying when we started the show, watching the New Earth channel says that rocks, maybe, are, since they're minerals, they can grow the way mushrooms can grow, and mushrooms are a fungus. So by simply saying that morgellons has aspects of a fungus, or maybe it's mechanized and then weaponized, it makes sense that it's many different things. I'm no expert on it, but there are people who are, and those are the channels that you should go to with more research. But it's interesting to talk about all the different theories behind it.
Yeah, it's.
And do our pets get it? And the wild animals out there too. It's got to be affecting them as well.
Our plants is being affected. The animals are dying. You can see, land, air, and water. They're all dying from all this. And our plants are dying. So it concerned all of us in this earth, what they're doing. But I've seen when I was researching a little bit about their plans, of their agendas, you could say, our governments, there's a vid out there where it talks about these truckloads go into these tunnels, underneath, and they were taking seeds who are the good seeds, and not GMOs, and they're the good seeds, and they have them piled somewhere. So when all this is passed by, they're going to use the good seeds to plant. So this is their agenda.
It's like a seed bank for after a dark future.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Walmart. Everybody that shops at Walmart really think about what you're supporting, because Walmart is part of all this chaos. I'm going to say it that way because I know that word meant someone. I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it. They're behind 100% with the government. Their food supplies, when they shut down these Walmarts, their food supplies are going to these places also where these seeds are at as well. So mainly, they're all into it. And then, of course, Walmart and I guess Sam's Club are shutting down, and they're making them into FEMA camps. See, these are their agendas. Now, some of these that drive the trucks, what are they called? Truck drivers, they have disappeared once they seen these places where they're hiding all these good seeds and the food and you name it. They disappeared. They don't know where their family ones are at or what. They know too much. And this is why it's their agenda is to do what their plans are. I've seen all this coming before I came to Flat Earth. I've seen it, and I studied it, and it really is coming to its place as they were speaking about it. I'm seeing it right now in my, in front of me, what their agendas are. And this is why chemtrails, GMOs, fluoride, all the other topics, that's their plans. And unfortunately, we're still asleep, like I said. And we need to wake up. We need to wake up our loved ones.
Yes.
Because those are the ones you care. Yeah, we care about everybody else, but these are the ones that are closer to you. But a lot of times they don't want to listen. They want to learn the hard way, and they're going to learn the hard way if they don't wake up.
I remember watching a video a couple of years ago. I mentioned Higher Side Chats earlier with Harold Kotz-Vella. I might be saying his name incorrectly, but he's somebody who's knows way more than I do. I just know little bits and pieces about morgellons, and some of it's just things I've read on or seen on other channels, just kind of tossing out all these things people think, like, hey, some people think this, some people think that. I don't know. But he did something on the Higher Side Chats maybe 2.5 years or so ago, and he included black goo into the conversation, and these kind of I don't know, spider bot type things too that are getting into our skin. And he's the first person I ever heard talk about black goo, which I know ODD later talked about. And it's been in many different movies too. So it's like
I know who you're talking about. We actually had like a live research on his stuff when we were investigating some of the things that are going on with the chemtrails, and he was one of the guys that we pulled up his videos that we can share and watch. And the guy knows a lot. He did
very
talk
interesting
about black goo. He did.
And it's fascinating, and also when you watch it, you can't watch anything and say this is 100% truth. You have to like use your own judgment and put it through your own filter, discern using your own senses. But it's like almost like some script to a movie, a horror movie. If any of this, really is. Any of it's true, and a lot of it is true.
Unfortunately, right. Moving forward, you guys, because I know much time, so I just wanted to move this forward a little bit more. Do you guys want to ask any other questions, or can we move this forward?
Yeah, I was asking a real quick question. Do you think, Patricia, you can answer this, or the other panel, do you think the conscience of a human being plays effect on what is happening? Like, are some more people more self-conscious? The conscience, like as a kid, I was more aware of my surroundings, so it wasn't hard to accept a few things here, but like conscience, like, I don't know if I'm trying to get where.
I got you.
Yeah, just because it feels like I was oversensitive and more self-aware of how people act, and because I love that behavior. But I was wondering, is the world just too busy to have a conscience?
Well,
and maybe that's why we are struggling.
I'd say we can never say yes to that, even if it sometimes looks like that when you go out in the real world and you're not on YouTube. We can never say yes to that, because I think that our intention can make it so. But I think all of us here, regardless of how we grew up, if we woke up like a flat trotter and been involved in Flat Earth since 2005, or we just woke up a minute ago to this and have looked into other, what people call conspiracies, we are all we're hyper aware. That's why when we heard about Flat Earth, maybe we said that's ridiculous or something, but we continued pushing and looking into it and challenging ourselves, where there's other people who don't have that level of awareness. Some may say that level of awareness, or the questioning mind, or the openness comes from your connection to Jesus Christ, or fill in the blank, or something that your parents have taught you to be more aware of love and things like that. But for some reason, there are a group of people, the people that I've even mentioned a few names and, of channels or whatever, these people are just tuned to a different frequency, whatever that may be, that are allowing them to be open about this, where there's other people that are fighting this. They're not part of the New World Order, but they're fighting for the New World Order without even realizing it. And they're doing it. They're not even being paid, but they're fighting against any sort of expansion of love or consciousness or godliness among people. So I think what you're saying is right. I mean, you're a sensitive person, Crow. I remember interviewing you. And your sensitivity and your childhood and all of those things conspired to make you be that person who, when presented with these truths, you could say, wow, this makes sense. I'm going to look into it, as opposed to somebody else who's maybe been just almost too brainwashed to look into it. So it's to get to reach the people who are fighting against us. That's a challenge. We can wake up new people who just haven't heard about any of this yet. That's somewhat easy. But the people who are angry about any of this, you stupid morons, what are you talking about, chemtrails or GMOs or fluoride's good for my teeth? Those people, that's much harder. So much harder.
Good answer. Thank you for that. Yeah. Good question too, there, Crow. Way to stimulate the conversation. Well, that's what it's all about, right? Having a really good dialogue. Katz, do you wanna add to that? Do you have any other questions?
No, continue if you like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been on for a while, so I just kind of want to start wrapping this up soon. So you told us, how you started, what you've been up to, and where you're going. So what do you got planned for the next couple of weeks? Anybody interesting you want to give a shout out to, or anything else going on?
I've got so much cool stuff going on personal life wise. I haven't got anybody scheduled to interview. So I should probably come up with somebody, but I interviewed Karen B of FE Core and the Karen B channel. And that's one of my more recent interviews. She's a fascinating woman, very nice. I met her in person. Irulanducci, I interviewed before Karen B, who's on Glowbusters and has his own channel. And he's definitely waking people up who speak Spanish and also who speak English. But, it's great to have somebody bilingual in this. There's many people bilingual in this, but it's great to have somebody, that's got a channel who's doing it. So I don't know who I'm going to interview next. I really don't know. I wish I could interview a person who is an expert on what we've been talking about chemtrails, but you can't really find an expert on it. There's just people with differing opinions. Exactly. Yeah. So,
but yeah. Maybe you can get that guy. We were just talking about the German guy.
I've already a long time ago messaged him, and he never messaged back. I don't think he's that guy who's going to do that. But I have no idea. I should never give up, and I should message him again.
Exactly. We should have a whole hangout here on chemtrails one of these days.
Yeah. But then again, it would just be his opinion, because somebody else might believe those are demons, Right. Morgellons, it's demons. I mean, so you run the risk when you do something like that of offending people who, when you've got an expert on, there's people out there who say that's not how it works.
Right. And that does happen a lot in this truth path that we're on.
Right.
You're right about that.
And I always try to say, I don't know. These are some people who might know.
Yeah, we're just trying to make sense of all this. Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely agree that a lot of people need to humble themselves. Stop thinking they have all the answers. Because I just think that's just ruin, you're putting yourself in a box when you do that.
Right.
It's good so I agree that it's good to say, I don't know. I don't know how the moon works, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the moon's a sphere, or if the moon is if the moon is flat, or.
Well, I have a crow moon theory that.
Let's hear it.
I just don't think this is the right time to do it.
Okay.
I want Face to be there when he hears this. So.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yeah,
he needs to be there.
He would cry, and I just don't want to deal with tears right now. But
well, we're all wondering when that's going to come out.
He's in the chat room.
We're just wondering what channel's going to get to have that experience. Who are you going to divulge that information?
I know it's exciting.
I've heard that the moon could be flat, but it's constructed or painted or artistically designed to look like a sphere. That's an interesting one. Or that it's actually scooped out, and it's the way our eyes view it that make it look, instead of like a bowl, that it's popped out like the side of a sphere.
Like convex.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of.
Yeah,
possibly.
Possibly.
Right.
Stay tuned.
Interesting ideas. I am not against any of these ideas. The only thing I'm really against are the ideas of the powers that should not be.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah. Yeah, right on, Patricia. Anything else, you guys? Anything else you'd like to talk about, Patricia, before we wrap this up?
No, but thank you for having me on, Flat Trotter and Sophia. And it's nice talking to you again, Crow.
Nice.
I'm glad you're doing more music again. That's cool.
Yeah, thank you.
And I like you teaming up with Shell Scanner.
Yeah, I'll team up with Solomon. I'll team up with Allergic to Bullshit. Interesting name, but he's such a cool guy.
Yep, so, shout out. Yep.
There's so many cool people that are involved in this they're cooler than the people I meet in my daily activities. And I only wish they all were all around me, and we all were around each other all of the time, which is why being at the conference was so amazing, because everywhere you walked in the hotel was like flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. And the conversations that were going on were like this, but, but deeper and bigger and more wide reaching.
Yeah.
And then when you leave and you come back to your home, unless you've got a flat earther that you live with or are very close to, you're alone in these thoughts, and there's a moment of decompression you've got to go through, or at least a day or two, where you're somewhere, anywhere, in a store, and you're thinking a flat earther is going to come around the corner every minute, and then you say, no, actually, no, they're not. So we need to build more flat earthers so we can have that feeling more of the time and more of those amazing conversations in real life.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah, I agree with it.
Yeah.
We could, like, I met some awesome people, like Morky, Mo, Faith, and a lot of these people are just like, it's so nice to connect to people, and they're so encouraging, and Solomon, known as Nameless, so people, don't get it twisted. But yeah, these are so many cool people, and they're very supportive. They're not judgmental, and they're not worried about, what your ideas, because a lot of times you're afraid to share your ideas.
Oh, yeah.
You just need people to have an ear, right? Just have an ear. So many people just want to talk about their opinions and not listen to what other people say.
Right.
And these people are very opening and receptive, and I like that. Whereas, find a good support group, and I think it go a long way from everybody.
Yes, and I've seen it too in people that just come into chats on certain channels, and you just feel like you're surrounded by friends you haven't met yet. And then other times you jump into a chat and you're like, oh my gosh, at any moment now someone's going to literally mace me because there's so much anger here in this group, and you just leave. You're like, I can't take it anymore. And I really encourage people to realize that nobody knows anything, really. We don't. We cannot say factually the map that we have, how the sun works, like you were saying, Crow, or how the moon works, or we can't. We have ideas, we have talking points, we have concepts. The only thing some of us will say we know is our religious belief or our connection with the Creator. I can definitely never fault anybody for saying that they're this or that religion. It's like, yes, I'm down with you. I mean, I'm never going to say, that's not what I believe, and fight with anybody over that. I don't want to fight with anybody over anything. I don't want to fight over, is it the AE map or is it not the AE map? People who are good at map making or who enjoy that, that's what they should be doing. But, just for somebody discussing the possibility that it may be true, it's not, you can't just go put someone in jail for that. Or somebody who believes in syncretism shouldn't be put in jail, a metaphorical jail, because they're not talking about Jesus. Or people who do talk about Jesus shouldn't be put in jail by some people who are Muslim. It's, we have to respect each other's differences and realize we have so much in common. We hate lies.
Yeah. Some people get cringy when they hear Mark Sargent say it's a dome, but that's his opinion, you know? And it's like, focus on telling a glober about the, flat earth rather than already a flat earther. That's wasted energy. It's just, and it's 2 years into this game and it's still that. It's just holding us back, There's more people that need to know rather than people that already know. I'm not going to attack Trouter for his views, even if we don't agree. It's just, that's his opinion. I mean, Jibby, I might, because I can't stand that guy, but that's just me. But that's just me. So, but I appreciate Kat's having me on here. And nice talking to you, Patricia and Trouter. So you're my boy, Blue.
Yeah, you know what's up, brother. Yeah. You guys, thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon. Patricia, thank you so much once again for your time and everything, and your contributions to the community. You have your place, and we support you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, Patricia, thank you for coming on our channel. It's my honor to have you here, honestly.
No, it's an honor that you asked me, actually. So I really appreciate it, and it's been fun. It's been enjoyable, and it's nice to talk to you, Cuts, and it's nice to talk to you, Flat Trotter, because I never really talked to you, although we have talked in chats.
Right.
So
yeah.
Another connection has been made, which is really
There
good.
you go. Yep.
2 new
Yeah.
connections.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, then. You have a good night, Patricia, and everybody in the chat. Thank you for supporting Cat Eyes, and we'll see you guys around.
Yeah, thanks everybody again for joining us in the chats. Also, Crow, thanks for coming again.
Thumbs up the video,
You're
everyone.
welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, and Jamie Brown for coming around earlier. I know he had to leave.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Jamie, thanks a lot, brother. We'll talk to you soon as well. Peace.
Goodbye,
Peace, everybody.
all.
Yep. Peace. Much love.